Hey guys, how's it going? This is Autobot JCB here coming to you with part 2 of my top Transformers Armada Minicon videos. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my picks for my top 10 favorite non-partner Minicons for the Transformers Armada series. And we're just going to go ahead and jump in and get going, and we'll see where this video goes. Alright, so coming in at my number 10 spot, this minicon was actually found in the same episode where they introduced Sideways into the series. This little minicon turns into a cool little blue sports car, and his name is Oval. Oval, unfortunately, only takes my number 10 spot because we really didn't see him more than a handful of times in the series. Although one thing I think would be cool is as Fred got to enjoy in the end of that episode would be having your own little personal, basically a go-kart, so to speak. Transforming go-kart, to stand corrected. As much as I like this design, I think that I think that these designs, they're kind of weird compared to some of the other minicons because of how tiny and compact they are. I don't know what they were going for with this series, with this particular set. But I think overall they did a really good job. So my number 10 spot goes to Oval. All right, coming in at number 9, this minicon was featured in the racetrack episode where Hotshot and Blur had to learn to work together. And so my number 9 spot goes to Downshift. Now, this particular minicon, what I think is interesting is that where normally a minicon panel has to actually be touched by somebody to actually activate, Downshift was actually able to activate on his own, which I think is kind of an interesting concept, considering that it doesn't normally happen. I do think it's interesting that as soon as the Autobots and Decepticons show up, Downshift kind of took off on his own. He ran away because he was scared. I do think it's interesting that after Hotshot risked his life to save him, Downshift just kind of looked at him like, oh, I guess you're not so bad. But unfortunately, right after that, Cyclonus swoops in, grabs him, takes off, which is what allows the Decepticons to complete the set to the Skyboom shield. Overall, I think the design for Downshift is actually pretty cool. I love the Indy car or race car design to the Skyboom shield team. I love that they gave them little individual numbers to kind of give them individual personality type of deal. I don't know if that's just by design or if that's actually supposed to be what's going on there. But overall, I think this is a pretty good design. So number 9 goes to Downshift. All right. And coming in at number 8, this minicon was discovered inside the, I guess it was an Egyptian temple, in the episode where they have the story about the woman who was wandering through the desert and she found a strange object in the sand, and she brought it back to her people, and it was worshipped as like an idol or something. This minicon was found by Demolisher and unfortunately corrupted by Demolisher and used against the Autobots. So my number 8 spot goes to Bone Crusher. This minicon, I think, is actually one of the most uniquely designed because of the way he transforms. Because ordinarily a minicon just kind of folds open and then like you spread the legs apart or whatever. This minicon actually, what I think is neat is that he's actually he actually flips around like that to go from vehicle mode to his alt mode, which honestly, I think that is probably one of the coolest designs that you could possibly come out with. I know there's a lot of minicons that have their very unique, they all have their individual way of transforming, but frankly, I think Bone Crusher is kind of the coolest, where he just kind of does this twist around and hey, I'm here type of deal. So my number 8 spot goes to Bone Crusher. All right, moving right along. Coming in at number 7, I don't think we had an episode where this minicon was actually found. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember where this minicon was found or when it was found. But my number 7 spot, I've got to give my little buddy Gun Barrel here. Gun Barrel turns into what I believe is a C-130 cargo plane. I love how not only do you have the land military team, which Bone Crusher is actually part of, but you also have the air military team, which I think is a great balance between that whole deal. One thing I love about the minicons in this team, and that includes, and I don't know if they're very tiny and they're right there at the top of the shelf, but there's Terra Dive and Dive Bomb. But I love that they actually have a third mode where they can turn into weapons. Gun Barrel, in particular, can actually turn into a 6-barreled, I guess I call it a turbine cannon because that's what it actually looks like. And then it can be mounted on the arm or on the shoulder of a bigger Transformer. This one has actually always been one of my favorites because of that, because of the weapon gimmick. So my number 7 spot goes to Gun Barrel. Now this minicon also has a secondary mode. He turns into a blaster, a handheld blaster. I don't believe we got an episode that explains where this minicon was found either. But I love that they have for the different types of minicons they came out with. I love that they are all unique. So my number 6 spot, I'm gonna give to Prowl. Now, obviously, you guys will recognize the name Prowl as one of an early series Autobots, and yes, this one does actually, in fact, turn into a police car as well. I think that this one's pretty cool. I think his head's a little big, frankly, because this whole top section is his head. But I love the gimmick where he can actually turn into a handheld blaster that can then be held by one of the bigger Transformers, similar to the Combiner set minicons, or, for instance, the Air Military Team mini Transformers. So my number 6, my number 6 spot goes to Prowl. All right. Coming in at number 5, this one for me was really a no-brainer. I love the design for his vehicle mode, and I have actually stated in one of my other videos where I think it's pretty unique, where there aren't a lot of Transformers that have this type of vehicle mode. But my number 5 spot is going to go to Astroscope. The reason I said it's a no-brainer is because, 1, he's the barrel of the Requiem Blaster. 2, he turns into a satellite that can orbit the Earth, and that's actually where actually take that back. No, he was in stasis on the moon, but still, having a minicon that turns into a satellite, I think would give you a great advantage, because imagine if he could pick up minicon symbols, or minicon signals, he could pick them up from anywhere and just be like, hey, go get him. But I love, obviously I'm not a huge fan of the fact that he's kind of lopsided with weight. He does take a little bit of TLC to make him balance, to stand up. Honestly, I'd just take the rocket out and then just put him in that shelf right there, because the cubbies are like this big. But overall, I think the design for Astroscope is really good. I think it's, in my opinion, a kind of a one-of-a-kind idea, especially for a figure this small. So, number 5, Astroscope. All right, coming in at number 4, this minicon was actually found in the introductory episode for another Autobot named Smokescreen. This is the minicon that was found inside the subway system below the major city that they had in the episode. I don't think we ever found out which city that actually was, but either way, I think it's pretty cool that a city was built on top of a minicon and they had no idea what was underneath it. So my number 4 spot goes to Drillbit. The biggest reason why I picked Drillbit for this, for the number 4 spot, was because I think it's pretty cool that, in addition to being able to power link on his actual power link port, he can actually attach to the underside of Cyclonus, and then when you pull the trigger on Cyclonus when he's in his vehicle mode, it will not only make Cyclonus's prop the helicopter prop spin, but it'll also make the drill bit rotate as kind of an added bonus. And there are 2 sets of teams plus Cyclonus' Minicon Crumple Zone that can actually be linked onto him for all sorts of different gimmicks, different weapons, accessories, all that type of stuff. I think that's really cool. But my favorite of all those connector Minicons has always been Drill Bit. So number 4, Drill Bit. All right, so coming in at number 3, this spot was actually a little bit difficult, but ultimately I had to give it to the Minicon that was actually rescued by Jetfire and Starscream when they worked as a team to rescue a Minicon from Mars. I believe this was the only Minicon that they rescued that wasn't detected on Earth. So my number 3 spot, I've got to give to Firebot. Now this Minicon is part of the same set as Prowl, whereas he can actually turn into a flip open rocket pod. I think that's pretty cool that he just flips in half, and then of course he's got the power link ports on his arms. I think that'd be pretty cool. Handheld blaster and a rocket pod. Can't go wrong with either one of those. My favorite thing about this Minicon is the fact that despite being scared when he first woke up, he was actually able to defend himself when Starscream convinced him to actually fire on Tidal Wave and prevent himself from being captured and basically corrupted by the Decepticons. So my number 3 spot goes to Firebot. All right, and coming in at number 2, this Minicon I picked because of the reason that he actually they actually gave him a choice whether or not he wanted to fight in the episode that they introduced this Minicon. I love his vehicle mode. I think that having a space shuttle vehicle mode, and if that's not a giveaway, I don't know what is. Having a space shuttle vehicle mode is actually pretty unique. I know, obviously, Jetfire and a few other Transformers have, we'll say, intergalactic vehicle modes. I don't know how else to categorize it. But my number 2 spot, I've got to give to my little buddy, Skyblast. Skyblast, I love the design. I think it's pretty cool that in the series, despite being, he wasn't actually scared to fight. He was scared of his power, of how much power he had. Because this is actually, in addition to Astroscope, this is another one of the 3 Minicons that makes up the Requiem Blaster, which is virtually the most powerful weapon in the universe. I think they actually stated that it's even more powerful than the Star Saber. But I love that they didn't actually force him to fight. He made the conscious choice. Okay, I need to help my friends. And I love the fact that when he goes to call the other 2 Minicons that make the Requiem Blaster, he gives off that, for lack of a better word, music, that song or whatever that he started emitting. And honestly, in the entire in everything I know about Transformers, that by far was one of the coolest sounds I have ever heard in a series of Transformers. It's one of the most unique sounds, and honestly, I don't think anything could really come to a close second with it. It's just one of the most amazing sounds that I've ever heard, and the fact that it was unique to the Minicons, so basically they established that yes, they have their own language, they can communicate with each other. So number 2 spot, Skyblast. All right, and coming in at my number 1 spot, the biggest reason why I picked this Minicon was because this was one of the first Minicons I ever collected when I started collecting Transformers Armada memorabilia, merchandise, excuse me. And plus, he's the grip of the Star Saber. Without him, you've got no sword. So, my number 1 spot, I'm giving to Sonar. Sonar is obviously one of the Air Defense Team Minicons, and like I said, one of the 3 Minicons that makes up the Star Saber. I I think that the fact that he actually has the ability to wake up other minicons is actually pretty cool. I don't know if they established that he can only wake up the Star Saber minicons or if he can wake up any minicon. But either way, I love the design for this guy. I love his shuttle mode. I think it's pretty funny that the grip for the sword is hanging off his back like that. But hey, for as small of a figure as this is, it's pretty dang good. So my number one spot goes to Sonar. Well, there you go, guys. Those are my top 10 picks for non-partnered minicons. I'm going to be coming out with part 3, my part 3 video, hopefully later today, and it's going to be my top 5 minicon teams. So you guys can look forward to that. If you guys have any alternate picks for these lineup, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. But anyway. So, like I said, those are my top 10 picks for non-partner minicons. If you guys have any ideas for other Transformers you'd like me to try and do, feel free to comment below. Even hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And I will see what I can do to help you out. And until then, bye.